Hey everybody, welcome to Your Unpaid Therapist.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Your Unpaid Therapist.
I'm not getting paid. I didn't even get a donut.
Oh, that's sexy though. I like it.
I'm Valerie Milagros Ortiz.
I don't know.
I am your host, Ali Kona. She's away. Bradford.
This is Your Unpaid Therapist. Shoo-wah, cha-cha.
Shoo-ba-doo-ba-doo-ba.
Ficky, me, DJ Ali Kona on the ones and twos for Your Unpaid Therapist, season 2. Okay. Hi.
Hey everybody. You know what? Listen, I think this is all my fault. I started this thing with season 2. I wanted to put music and songs in there, and Ali Kona commits to everything. So now we got DJ Kona in the house.
Hey.
I'm Valerie, as you know, and Ali Kona, please introduce our fabulous guest.
Yes. Okay. So today's guest, I'm so excited to have him on here. So he started off his career assuming an identity that wasn't true to himself. He put himself in a box to fit into wherever Hollywood felt he should be in. And then one day was like, you know what? It's going to be May, and decided to be himself. So he is a dear friend of mine. You might recognize him from a TV show called The Millennials. He was also in A Stone Cold Christmas, and just a pretty wise, awesome guy. He is Dashad Barner. Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Come on, research. I feel like a startup.
Always sorrow. I love it. Thank you for being with us.
So tell us about the song, Val.
Oh, so we're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So y'all, so season 1, we used to do these Never Have I Evers. If you're new to season 2, now we're every episode we're trying to pick a song that maybe resonates with you today, this week, yesterday, whatever, something that comes to mind. My song is inspired by we just went to a premiere, Los Angeles Film Festival, of a movie I did a while back. It was so much fun, and it just seeing something you did, especially in the theater. I haven't done that in years since Date Movie. It just ignites something in you. And I want to say most people won't know this song. It's from Mandy Moore, and it's called Trying My Best, Los Angeles. And for you artists out there, if you haven't heard this song, or if you're in LA, I listen to this song. It's so good. It just I'll be lost in it. So I'm not gonna sing it for y'all, but chorus is well, I'm trying my best, Los Angeles, to the last sunset, Los Angeles, where you lit this fire years ago, and it gets me higher, I can't let it go, and I'm trying my best, Los Angeles. Woo!
Aww.
Anyway, y'all gotta listen to the song. It's so good, super inspiring. Yeah, Mandy Moore.
That's so cute. I love it.
I think you would like the song. You gotta listen. I want you to listen to it.
Okay. I'm gonna go
playlist now.
purposely. I'm gonna go next and not let Dashad go before me.
He's gonna sing.
He
shade
really
of it
is.
all.
Okay.
I saw that microphone and I was like, oh, he sings.
Exactly. So
Good.
this is a very iconic, well-known song, and I am very well known for butchering songs. So I'm gonna start with the line into the chorus and then the chorus. 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, here I go. Okay, because if it was, I can't sing this one first part. Doesn't matter. Okay. So want to say thank you, cause makes me that much stronger, makes me work a little bit harder, makes me that much wiser. Thanks for making me a fighter. Made me run a little bit faster, made my skin a little bit thicker, makes me that much smarter. Thanks for making me a fighter.
Woo! All right. Why are we picking this song?
For multiple reasons. So I've had a week where I've looked back and reflected on some of the people that I've encountered in my life, even like family members. And it's easy to be like, that sucks. Like this happened to me and that happened to me. But it is like I am that much stronger because of those moments. But also, too, on a physical level, you guys know I've been
Yes.
training with WOW, Women of Wrestling. And this week I got beat up, like not intentionally. Somebody just had a misstep, which caused me to land on my head and my shoulder. And so it hurt. It hurt. And it's funny because I was going to pick, because I was like, let me switch it up. I'm going to pick a rap song. Okay. And so in my head, I was going to pick Busta Rhymes, Break Your Neck. And I was like, yeah, because I used to hum along with it. But you can't ever understand what Busta Rhymes says. So I looked up the lyrics and every other word is the N word. It was like, nod your head, N word, break your back. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to sing this one today.
Good choice.
So
And
anyways,
right? Christina Aguilera, if
yes.
people didn't know.
Yes.
Classic.
Like, what was she
Classic.
singing?
That song got me through high school.
Right? Okay, Deshad. Go ahead.
Do it or no, let's go.
So this is it's kind of a reverse psychology song for me. Like it's been a long day, long year, long time, but I was like, let's pick something a little happy that reflects more kind of what I'm going through, but also is manifesting good times and where I want to be.
Yes.
So there we go.
Get it out, girl.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new life for me. Yeah. And I'm feeling good. Come on, horns.
Yes.
We just went to church, y'all.
I love it. Everybody's feeling good right now.
Yes. And
Thank
by the
you
way,
for that.
yes, I would say I did lip sing a little bit so I can take a clip of this and just cut you out and just use my face and
I
your
approve.
voice.
I support that. Just give me my 10% on the back end. Make sure I'm
That's
credited.
right.
I'm
No
good.
problem.
That's all I need.
10% of free 99. You got it, boo.
Oh my goodness. I love that. So good.
Yes. Okay,
Nina
so
Simone, if you don't know.
obviously Deshad is a singer. And I mentioned he's been in some films and stuff. He's also an actor, a host, an everythinger. But at the beginning of his career, he and I were talking about the fact that he did approach the R&B music industry and felt the need to be somebody that he wasn't so that he could fit in. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, just like stereotypes and judgment and like all the things and like what made you feel like you needed to be this thing. And at what point in your life were you like, I'm done pretending to be somebody I'm not?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Oh, that's good. This could be like a multi-day
loaded
session right here.
Yeah.
That's loaded.
It is.
Being a gay black man, coming from the South, that's loaded as well. But that journey wasn't always an easy one, but I felt like from a very young age, I always knew who I was. But growing up in the church in the South, who I was and who I knew I was wrong. So I always say I went through like 3 phases of figuring out who I was. I knew who I was, but I was wrong. That's the first phase. The second phase was, okay, I know who I am and I just can't act on it. Like I just can't be gay. Like it is who I am, but I'm not supposed to be gay. So I just won't be gay. It is who I am, but I just won't act on it. And then the third phase was, fuck it, I'm going to be who I'm supposed to be, who the universe, God, whoever you call them, created me to be. So that was like my journey. And by high school, I knew and was fine with who I am. But working in the industry, we have certain stereotypes or mindsets that we're supposed to have or who we're supposed to be. And for me, it was kind of twofold. For the acting side, I was okay with it because I felt like it was a plus. But on the music side, I was terrified to let out who I really am, being a gay man. I felt like, especially doing R&B, name more than 2 R&B singers that are openly gay and out. You can't.
Right.
The first one comes to mind, Frank Ocean, of course. But outside of that, you're pulling straws, you're grasping at the air, trying to figure out who
Right.
is a male R&B singer that's out there. So for my music, I was terrified. I tried to. I wasn't necessarily who I wasn't, or tried to be someone who I didn't feel was true to me. I still wrote songs that were true to me, and expressed who I was, but I wasn't open about it. I wasn't truthful about it. If someone were to ask me, I wouldn't necessarily be honest about it, or I would kind of skirt the subject about it. So being afraid in the music industry was a very real fear for me, and something that I had to learn to just embrace. It wasn't necessarily a major shift in embracing it, because again, I was true to myself. I wrote songs that were true to who I was, but learning that I'm okay who I am, being who I am, and it's okay. And I think I've been blessed to grow up in a time in a city, moving to LA, coming from Spotsylvania, Virginia, and moving to LA. It's a shift change, and you're like, oh, there are people out here like me, and it's okay
Mm-hmm.
to be me. And again, like I said, in the time that we're in, it's such a blessing to be able to be yourself in R&B and acting and just in life in general. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I would function, growing up in earlier times.
I have a question for you, and it may sound ignorant or not. I'm not sure. I love you. You're my friend, so I'll just ask. But correct me if I'm wrong. Culturally speaking, do you feel like it is less acceptable in the Black community to be gay versus in the white community?
Yeah, I would say so. Again, I think everything is relative. We all have our
Sure.
different experiences. Different races have different things that they experience. But I think in the Black community, experiencing for me, I definitely think it's a little harder. Outside of sexuality and things like that, in the Black community, we don't talk about things.
Mm.
I think I'm the only person that I know of in my family that's been to therapy and loves it. So just in general, we don't talk about things in the Black community, especially sins and sins that are really bad. We don't talk about that. We sweep it under the rug. I had an uncle that I don't know, it's not confirmed, but I'm pretty sure he was gay, but we just didn't talk about it. It was
Talk about it.
the elephant in the room that we just didn't talk about. So
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say it's definitely something that's a little harder.
Now, what was the catalyst for you, Deshad? Is there a moment? Was there a specific situation, an interaction with somebody that was just like, you know what? Okay, I'm done. Like this is the last straw. Like, did something like that happen to you that pushed you into embracing all of you?
Um, I don't know if there was one major catalyst. I think it was a more internal personal growth for me.
Okay.
Just seeing, again, coming from a Black community, just our community in general being oppressed, and then I'm also gay, seeing that being oppressed and just the struggles. I'm like, well, what's wrong? First of all, I'm Black. There's nothing wrong with me being Black. Second of all, I'm gay. There's nothing wrong with me being gay. Like, what is the problem? Like, why am I hiding who I am? If I've known this for such a young age, why would the universe create me this way? Like, so it was more of an
Mm-hmm.
internal realization for me, than a more of an aha or an external moment.
Okay.
So Deshad and I, we were on the phone the other day and we were talking about this, and then we were talking about stereotypes. So it's like leaning into the opposite end of, okay, cool, like I am this person. And this can apply to anybody, whether it's being a female, being a blonde, being a Latina, being Asian, being Black, being gay, whatever. But then there's also this like idea of what X, Y, and Z person should act like or be like.
Mm,
And
Mm-hmm.
so we were talking about how, like, because now you're the gay actor, it's, come in for this role and just be like, yes, queen. And that's not necessarily every single gay person's MO. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So I don't know. I guess for like the two of you, have you ever found yourself? Because I know I recently, some words were said to me that I was like, but anyways, whether it's like, oh, you're Asian, like you must be able to do kung fu, and you're like, no, man, like I actually can't. Um,
Right.
but like for you guys, have you ever had such a situation? And if so, like how do you deal with that level of ignorance, especially when it's done from a place that's not someone actively trying to be malicious? They're just like again, it ignorant and they don't know any better.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the spicy Latina, everybody talks about it. And I am. So
It's a
I don't.
stereotype for a reason, I guess, Val. Just
Right.
kidding.
Most things are. I mean, let's be honest. So and I mean, I am, so I'm not bothered by it. But there's obviously plenty of Latinas who are quiet and timid, and who I'm sure would be like, oh, why do we gotta do this and da 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 da. I don't know. I think especially being in the industry and being an actor, um, I have an interesting take on people getting offended with playing the maid or the baby mama or the whatever. Because I mean, actually, I feel like I've had a kid. I've played a mom in most of my roles, um, and I don't have a kid. And I've played single mom often. And I've had interviews where people are like, "How does that make you feel?" And da da da. And we should be doing better. And yes, and there is also a lot of people's story that is the single mom struggling, doing this and this. There are a lot of women that I respect that are cleaning houses. So there is in no way I feel like I'm very careful with that conversation, because sometimes I feel like the way it's spoken about is that those people are less than and I am above those situations. And I disagree with that. Like, if I can tell a story, I want to tell a story. Now, do we need more stories? Fuck yes. That's not in question. But will I feel any kind of way for being offered an opportunity to tell a story that is very common in our freaking country? No. So
I
that's
love
that.
that. I no, I mean, I love that. And I want to emphasize, like, I agree. And I love that you said, but do there need to be more stories? And it's like,
Of course.
yes.
Yes.
Um, do,
Yes.
I'm going to share something. And then Deshad, I want you to actually, my what I'm about to say is a little off. So you go ahead and you tell me, because again, we were having this conversation on the phone the other day about like always having to be like, yes. And like, there is a little side of Deshad that is like that. Just saying. But
I love what you said, Valerie. It's very true. There are stories out there like that, and I love what you said about it. Am I greater than because I don't want to play that role, or I don't want to tell that story, or am I making that person less than because I don't necessarily want to play that story? I love that because it's true. Um, Being a gay man, like it's a double edged sword. Like, I'm often pigeonholed as the yes, honey, yes, queen. Like, I always have to come in flaming. Um, but is that necessarily me? No. But does that person exist? Yes. Um, and again, it's a double edged sword. Growing up, I didn't see gay commercials. I barely
Yeah.
saw gay TV shows. But now I'm walking down the airport, I see gay ads and gay commercials. Like, I love it and I feel embraced. But on the other side, I feel like the stories that are being told are only the yes queens, and if I don't watch RuPaul's Drag Race, then I'm not really gay. Like,
Right.
that's my frustration. That's where I'm like, there's a spectrum. Like, just like there's
right.
different heterosexual people, there's different gay people. But at the same time, I'm not going to turn down playing that story. When I get the extra quote unquote flamboyant or feminine gay guy, I just make sure I make him real because he exists and he has a story and he has a voice. So instead of, us actors, instead of acting gay or playing mad or playing angry, I become him. I find his story and I just try to ground him. Even if it's in a comedy and he's, again, over the top gay, I try to find the truth in it and play him instead of acting gay. Even though it's not necessarily me per se, I still try
Right.
to make it truth and ground it and tell that story.
I also think it's important to remember, I guess this would be like a note to the writers, not that all of them do this, but just like there's just so many different sides of people. So it's like who I am with Valerie is going to be different than who I'm going to be with the CEO of
Yes.
NBC, who I'm going to be with my mom, who I'm going to be with a guy that I find very attractive. And it's the same thing for you, Deshad. Like, yes, there is a side of him you, because we hang out, of like, yes, honey, whatever. But then there's also, as you can even hear, like the timbre in your voice, like there's a very just like you are in your like masculine, like very much. So it's like there's just different layers. So just making sure that the stories that are told are filled with those different sides. And yes, Queen doesn't necessarily show up to NBC, like anyways.
And maybe he or she does. You know what I
Maybe.
mean? Like, and yeah, and I think it's both, right? Like I think and I think that's probably why you're such an amazing artist, is because you can flow through all of those essences very honestly, right? And that will make you, or is why you're a great actor. What I'm really interested about too, and I want to get to your story, Alicona, because you haven't told me, and I'm like, gay. I love you bringing up singing R&B, because I'm just like, now I'm like such a fan, in the sense of like, obviously I heard you sing, and I'm like, I think it's that it's not tapped into, right? The like
Yeah.
being gay, singing R&B, and obviously being a Black man, like that's so niche and specific that I'm like,
Hello.
you like, let's
Do it.
go.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's so funny too, because I remember like once upon a time, a long time ago, I don't even know why, was I Googling you? I don't think so. I feel like you shared something. Either way, I saw like one of your first music videos, and it was like you were singing to a girl and da da da, and I was like, okay, you're right.
I love it.
But anyway, no, so my story is more so, and like I said, at the top of this, I want to make sure we also broaden it a little bit to say, like, again, there's the role of the girl, which sometimes we feel the need to play a little stupid or not knowing or more naive, because that's just our role in society. And the man is like the knowledgeable, authoritative, blah, blah, blah. And then you find yourself acting a certain way. But I'm going to rewind and go back to ethnicity really quickly. Not that I want to play the ethnic card, but it was just one of those moments I had last week. And I told Jashad that I was like, it was somebody genuinely, honestly trying to be inclusive, but it just didn't come off that way. So I was somewhere and I was talking to this other girl who was Asian but Australian and had this amazing accent, and she's like, oh yeah, so and so told me about you, I'm so glad you're in this group now, like, yeah, I have another Asian. And this older white Caucasian man was like, oh, you're Asian? Not untypical, some people can't tell. And I was like, yeah, I'm half Japanese. Japanese is Asian? Yes, it is. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I just see a human. And I was like, thank you. He's like, the only, and he mentioned somebody else that he happened to know that was Asian. He's like, that's the only other person I know is Asian. But then they called me racist, and I don't even know why. And I was like,
ay.
oh, and it's
I
like,
have a gay
again,
friend.
right. And it's like, again, they were wholeheartedly just trying to be like, I see human. Thank you. But I think what they missed was when you say, oh, I didn't even know Japanese was Asian, so you didn't go outside of yourself to learn about other cultures. And it's a bit dismissive of my culture by just saying, oh, well, you're just another human. Well, maybe what if I take pride in being who I am or where I'm from? And what if that makes up part of my life story? So to just like push it aside and be like, oh, you're just a person like me.
Right. It goes, and I'm gonna go there because this is why we have this podcast. It's the same people that like say I don't see color during the Black Lives Matter movement. Like,
all lives matter.
that's the fucking point. Like, you're literally highlighting what we're talking about, that you don't see color. That's
the problem.
exactly the problem. Like, you're like, that's not cute. Like, that wasn't a compliment. That's like
Wasn't
showing your ignorance.
Right,
loud and clear. So
Thanks,
yeah,
but no thanks.
that gets me. I don't see color. We know.
For those of you not watching the video, Val's face was definitely priceless.
I just get so like, when you see that, because they come on with like such passion and such like they're saying a message, and then you're just like, Yeah, that was.
Got it.
And have either of you ever had that happen? And it's somebody that is a close friend, and because I have, and I'm like, how do I approach this? Because they're really adamant about the fact that, like, no, because I've had the all lives matter conversation with somebody, and they're like, I have a friend that's gay, and a friend that's Latino, and a friend that's Black, and I love them all the same. Like, they're all important. I was
Yeah.
like, no, but you need to acknowledge that you have privilege. No. And he'd be like, no, I work hard. They work hard. They're successful because they work hard too. It's not a color thing. And I'm like, yes and no. Yes and no.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that conversation with a family member's significant other, and they just, that specific person just likes to argue and debate. And I'm just the kind of person who, I'm just, especially when I know somebody's looking to, like, just fight. I'm like, I'm not, like, you are my blank's significant other. We're not doing this. Like, stop. Like,
Choose your
you can
battles.
talk, but I'm just not debating with you.
Exactly.
I can't.
So I will say this, and you guys are like, oh, of course she's saying this.
I'm scared.
No, it's not a bad thing. But I mean, if we are going to go into, again, talking about stereotypes or prejudging somebody based on their title, if you will, whether the
Yeah.
title is gay, straight, trans, Japanese, Latina,
Sure.
Deshad, whatever. I'm vegan. Can I tell you how many people offer me a salad? Can I tell you how many people talk about my food
Sure.
tasting like cardboard, or like I'm an extremist, or I'm a this and I'm that? I'm like, what's
Yeah.
extreme about having compassion towards something else that's living? What's extreme about being like, well, I want to stand up for this
Mhm.
because it's something I believe in. And I always have to be the one that sits at the table that's be quiet, because if I say anything even minute, then all of a sudden, oh, she's like that vegan, you know? Or but I have to sit there while you make jokes about your food, or you're like, with your steak, like, ha ha ha, it smells good. I'm like, okay. Like, but if I, again,
Who are you
if I
eating
say
with?
something, huh? Who
I
am I
said, who
eating
are
with?
we eating with?
Look,
Plastic.
listen. Let me tell you guys about something that some people might find funny, but I found it very traumatic, okay? When I was in high school, my dad made me, he got it was Thanksgiving and there was a turkey, took me by the wrist and shoved my hand up the turkey's behind, because you're supposed to take out the innards or whatever. And I was
Right.
like literally on the floor on my knees crying, and he's shoving my hand up the little turkey like it's fine. And I'm like, no.
Oh, I'd be a vegan too after that.
Seriously.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways.
I think there's levels. Like,
Sure.
we have to be able to agree to disagree, and I think that's a big issue just with humanity as a whole. Like, yes, I'm gay, but I'm not forcing that down anyone's throat. That is my personal preference. We can agree to disagree. If you don't think it's right, whether it's because of your religion or your morals, that's fine. Like, I will still love you, I will still rock with you, I will still fight for you. But when you want to make me change, or you want to disrespect who I am, that's when the gloves come off and I have a problem. Like, I will always respect different opinions, but we need to be able to be respectful about our differences in opinions. Like, I'm not a vegan, but that doesn't mean I want every vegan to become, to eat meat. Like, that's
Right.
not my goal in life. My goal is to respect people's choices and decisions and just be a kind person. It's not that hard. Just because we have differences doesn't mean we have to hate each other.
Yes.
Yes.
I get really fired up and I feel like it's more the older generation, but when they feel like they bring religion into it, and it's like, well,
Ugh.
God says blah, 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 blah. Like, either whether it's, God says that animals were put on this planet for us to eat. I'm like, but do you see the way that you guys are treating them? Like, I don't think God was like, yes, please, like, torture this animal and whatever. And the same thing with homosexuality. I don't think, why would, and I'm not like, I don't run around this world being like, God this, God that. I'm a universe type of gal. But if this entity is almighty and doesn't make mistakes, then why are there so many gay people? It's not like one here, one there. I mean, it's cross cultural, it's cross centuries. It's a thing. It's not like someone just woke up and was like, I'm gonna defy God.
Well,
Go
in
ahead.
their eyes, it's not godly.
Then who made them?
Girl, the devil. That's
God.
Satan.
that's what they believe. Like, you are not of God.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that they're not trying to say they're aliens. They're
Okay,
just
well then, back to
They're
what
just wrong.
Deshad was saying. If that's what you believe, then let them go to hell. That's their prerogative. Like, it does
right.
not affect you.
Listen, if I
So
want
what
to
if
tan
so
for eternity, then let me tan for eternity. That's my
right,
choice.
right. Like, when did it
Yeah.
become your job to go tell people how to live their lives? That's what I don't agree with. Like you just said, like just walk, like telling people. Who are you?
Yeah, it's tough, especially when we get into these specifics and these things that are very divisive with family members and friends. I mean, I have a lot of gay friends, but one specifically has been in my life for a very long time. And I have some family members that will remain unnamed who are super religious. And and I'm going to share this story because it was pretty kind of wild. My dad was getting his cancer removed. I'm at the hospital in the morning of his procedure. Some of this these people are and I love them, but they're there to support my dad. He's about to have the surgery and get it removed, and out of nowhere, because it's out of nowhere. Like my dad, like what are we doing here? They bring up this very close friend of mine, and if I'm still friends with them, and basically suggesting that I shouldn't be friends with them because they're going to go to hell and that I need to seek God in my life, blah, 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 blah. Y'all, my dad's about to get his cancer removed within minutes. We're in the lobby, like in the little green room. And I'm like, are you for real right now? And I respectively said, if heaven isn't going to have this friend of mine, then that's not where I want to go. And of course their faces were like, "Brr."
Shocked.
and that was it. And I was kind of like, let me go say bye to my dad before he falls asleep and gets the surgery. But I was like, what are we like? What? Come on. Things like
Right.
that really irritate me. And I played it cool. And I wish my brother was in the room because my brother's an atheist and he takes questions and conversations like that very seriously. And I'm not going to shit on you, but I'm going to debate the F out of you. So
Mm-hmm.
we can have this
Mm-hmm.
conversation if that's what you're going to do to me, and put me in this very awkward situation and like the wrong time. Not that there's ever a
Wrong
right
time.
time,
Yeah.
but that's when it's like too much. It's like, look, I'm not impeding on your beliefs and blah blah blah. But if you're gonna like flat out boldly say you're going to hell if you remain friends with this person, I mean, they have opinions about me being in Hollywood and having this career. It's sad.
I just want to say two things because I'm asked a shot a question, but before I move to you, not to like make light of what you were saying, Valerie, but I'm like, that's how you know Valerie is an actress because she referred to a hospital waiting room as the green room.
I sure did. Yeah, I sure
What?
did.
Oh,
Y'all know
that's
the
good.
rehearsal room before you go into the surgery. The dress
That's
rehearsal before.
good.
Yeah, I
But
do that so
anyway,
many times.
um, but no, so I was going to ask you, Deshad, because, and I do actually have a friend out here that, Valley, he's trans and all those things. And one of the things I try to remind him, because he won't come out to his parents just because he's older,
Mm-hmm.
his parents are much older and they're just a different
Okay.
mindset. But I told him, I
Mm-hmm.
said, you know what, though, you are so lucky that you live in LA where you can go out on Saturday night to WeHo and live your best life as your authentic self. And it's okay. And
Yeah.
if you were to live somewhere, and this is not poo-pooing on anyone, but if you live in Nebraska or Idaho, like, it's not quite as open out
Mm-hmm.
there, and you wouldn't be able to do those things. You wouldn't be able to live your best life. In fact, you'd probably be worried about someone coming and like harassing you, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, um, not that you are the spokesperson for gay people, Deshad,
I
but
speak for the gays.
yes. But like, what advice would you give, a 15-year-old boy, girl, trans person who is living somewhere where it's hard to be their authentic self? Like, what can they emotionally rely on, or a place that they can go to get through their adolescence until they can maybe move somewhere else more accepting or what have you?
That's a tough one. That's so
Or how
tough.
about this? What would you have said to younger you?
Yeah, I should have phrased it that way.
live your life. Live your life. Capital your life. It's your life. And it's your job to live it. Don't be afraid of anything that you want to do. Again, whether it's sexuality, sports, whatever you want to do, live your life. You only have one life. And if you are putting out the right energy, not hurting anybody, not forcing anybody to change their ways, and you're just living your life, trust me, the universe will take care of you. You'll be fine. It's scary. You may not know where you're gonna live, but live your life. That's what I would say. It's not easy. Nothing in life is easy, but especially living a life that is wrong or contrary to the norm, it's hard. But you have
Yeah.
to live it because either you're gonna live inside and die inside, or you're gonna live your truth. And your truth, trust me, your truth will take care of you every time. You'll never fail living your truth.
And I think that the people that are for you are going to stick with you, whether
Hmm.
it is your parents. And that is what's heartbreaking, is that there are some parents that are not accepting
Yep.
of, and it could be, again, like your choice to move to LA to be an actor. And
Mhm.
like parents can disown people from that. It doesn't have to necessarily be about sexuality. I mean, I was going somewhere with this and then I got lost. I'm not going to lie. My brain just farted a
No,
little
it's
bit on
great.
me.
But no, and I love that, Jashad, you said it's your responsibility. You said something along the lines of taking accountability for that. And I think that's important because um we can't stay in a victim mentality or like, oh, but I don't have all the same rights as everybody else, and it's like, because we know all that, and it's so easy to dive into that pool because it's, I mean, we're pretty much swimming in it in different ways, obviously.
Mhm.
um but I love that you said that because that's a huge part, and that does look different for everybody, but tapping into whatever that is for you. And I mean, I'm generalizing it, so I don't know, but I mean, even if you have any advice on like what it was that you needed to do. I know you said there wasn't a specific moment,
Mhm.
but did your confidence change? Is that what helped you kind of start living your life and your truth? Was it an influence of a person? Was it just the times, social medias, and Pride Month and the parades? Or
I think for me, it was. My mom always says that I was always an independent asshole. Like it was just who I was. Like I was always too damn independent. So I was never afraid to live my truth. And I think that was the problem. Like even outside of sexuality, if I had an issue with my dad, like we would just always bump heads and I would just say what was on my mind. And my brother would be like, bro, stop. Like you're pushing it. I'm like, well, what?
yeah.
So that was always within me. But because I had that mentality, I faked it until I made it. So
Mm,
by saying that, I meant, all right, I'm stuck in this house. I can't leave. I can't run away. Like this is where I eat. If I run away, I'm not going to eat. So as much as I want to live my truth, I got to fake it till I make it. So
mm,
I didn't have those conversations with my dad. I was just like, yep, okay, yep, I'm straight. I'm not doing anything with boys. Like this is just who I am. Like literally when I went to college, every time I came home from college break, like spring break or summer, my dad would like, so how are we? What are we what are we doing? I'm like, yep, still straight. Straight as an arrow.
wow.
Not
You
doing
would say
anything.
that literally?
Oh, absolutely. Because my goal was to get out. Once I was out on my own, I was okay.
Mm,
I just had to swallow that pill. That's just what I had to do. But I didn't lose myself in that. Like you kind of said, Val, don't become the victim. This is just it's the situation I'm in. These are the cards I'm dealt. So these are the cards I'm going to play until I can get out. And that was just my specific situation. I just had to fake it until I make it. I would tell them, yeah, I'm straight, whatever, and go back to college and live my life. And then once I got my job, gone.
mhm.
Didn't look back.
So what is
Yeah.
has your dad come to terms with yet? Like, what does that look like now?
Nope, has not. Has
Really?
not.
Mm,
I call it the grandma pass. There's certain generations and people in general that you just can't. I can't force what I believe onto someone. I can't do it. It's not my job. It's not right. What they're gonna believe is what they're gonna believe, and I can't change that. My grandma swears I'm going to hell. So I just don't talk about it with her. I did my responsibility of saying, hey, I'm gay. this is who I am, and I left it at that. I wasn't gonna hide it. I made sure you guys know. So in case you see something on social media, if you see me on the red carpet holding hands with a man, you know that I'm gay. Like I gave you the
Right.
respect of knowing that, hey, this is who I am. But I don't force it on them. I'm not on the phone every day saying you need to accept me. This is just who I
Correct.
am, and it's my choice. So that's my grandma pass, and that's the pass that I give to my dad as well. Like he doesn't believe in it, and he never will. Again, my thing is when you start to disrespect me, that's when I have an
Sure.
issue. My dad one time started yelling and screaming at me, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do this. So if you want a relationship with me, we can have a relationship and agree to disagree. But if you want to
Mhm.
argue, yell, and scream and hang up on me, we just want to have a relationship, and I'm okay with that. That's my personal choice. Family is family, but when family disrespects you, you have to set your boundaries. You have to set your
Yeah.
walls.
Absolutely. So, but what about your mom?
Mom, Mom is a different story. I think because I'm the youngest, she came around, but she came around in her own way. She still doesn't believe it is right. She's still a very Christian woman, but she doesn't believe it's right. But she always says, "You're grown. You're gonna live your life. I just want you to be safe, and I want you to be happy." She's met all my exes, embraced them, bought them gifts,
Mhm.
but in her heart, she still feels it's wrong, but she can
Mm.
agree to disagree. She's like, "You're grown. You're
Yeah.
going to live your life." And that I can have that relationship. Even if you think I'm going to hell and I'm wrong, as long as you still respect me, I'll love you to the day you die. And even if you don't agree with who I am, I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to respect you. I'm still fight for my dad. Let somebody say something about my dad. I will take you out. Even though
Right.
he doesn't love necessarily agree with who I am, he's still my father. I'm still going to respect him. But once he disrespects me, that's where I draw the line. We didn't talk for 2 years at one point. 2 years we
Mm.
did
Wow.
not talk. But I was like,
And
okay, I'm gonna be the bigger man. I'll bite the bullet and I will call and reach out. And since then, we just agree to disagree.
so has he met any of your exes, or he's like, just don't bring it around me?
Oh, he met one on accident, I'll
Uh
say. My dad, because I was born in California, but I grew up in Virginia. So my dad came out here when I moved out here to visit and show me around like all the places that I've never remember because I was like one when we left. And I was living with an ex at the time, and my dad was getting ready to leave. And I was like, "Hey, do you want to meet him? It's up to you. I'm not forcing it on you." And he was like, "Not really. I don't really want to meet him." And my
Yeah.
ex at the time was trying to avoid coming home. He normally gets home at like 5, and he stayed at work till like 8. He was like, "I'm not coming home. I don't want to meet him. I'm scared."
Yeah.
But he
Oh.
eventually had to come home, and my dad was leaving, and they crossed paths. And he met him, and my dad just looked at him like, "Nice to
Mhm.
meet you."
Yeah.
And my ex was just
Oh.
shaking in his boots. But
Yeah.
again, it was an agree to disagree. It's not his thing, and I'm okay with that. As long as we can respect each other and agree to disagree, I'm totally fine.
Mhm.
But can I ask you, like, on a vulnerable personal level, is there a part of
Hmm.
you that makes you sad, or that you're like, oh God, like I just wish one day, I don't know. Does that make sense?
No,
No?
not
Okay.
not really. Like, I'm not putting on a front to like show that I'm cool and I'm strong. Like, I'm a bitch. I cry with our commercials. Like, I don't mind being vulnerable, but I'm just my truth is more important than any relationship. Family, lover, friend, enemy. My truth is more important, and my respect is more important than that. If you can't, again, if you cannot respect who I am, then I can't have a relationship with you. But if we can agree to disagree, great.
Yeah.
I'll rock with you to the end. I know if I ever get married one day, he will not be there. And that's
Mhm.
fine. I will be okay with that as long as we can respect each other. I'm totally fine. I'm not missing anything. I believe we were created from whoever we were created from with everything that we need within. So if we lose a family member, if we lose a friend, it's gonna happen in life. And you have to be okay with who you are no matter what.
I love that. I hope somebody listening out there is feeling really inspired. Like, because that's such
Mhm.
a healthy way to look at it, and to not, for lack of better words, like play the victim or whatever. Like, you're able to detach and just live your best life. And that's just so wonderful and amazing. I love that.
Yeah, and I was
Thank
going to
you.
say, it's not easy, but it sounds like it's been something that you've been doing for a while since you were a kid. So that's so interesting to me. On like innately, that is such a big part of who you are. Um, and it just, and thinking about when you were talking about your mom and talk about love, like I can't. I was trying to think of, is there something that I do not agree with that somebody does that I would still be able to, or like, or whatever, that I would still be able to have them in my life and put on the face and still like participate in their joy but still detach from my own personal beliefs. I can't think of anything, and I mean, that's a mother's love, right? Like I don't know
Yeah.
that I'm sure that's not easy to do. So good for her for being able to do that for you. And obviously, and then maybe who knows if it'll get to a point where she's like, ah, I had a moment or whatever. But it might not, it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
She'll
I was
be at the
just,
wedding, but she'll never approve. But she'll be at the wedding.
see, I love that. Like, that's so special.
All right. So we have a segment called What If that we like to close with. I'm going to make this a double header and
Okay.
say we're going to close with What If, which we'll explain shortly, Deshad. And then we're also going to close with a ditty because Deshad just has such a pretty voice. I just want him to sing again. So you can think of something that maybe you could sing off the top of your head. But basically, our what if is a lot of people have a tendency to what if the worst of a situation if they're having a stressful week. And it's like, well, what if I completely fail? Or what if I forget my phone when I get there? Or what if I trip and I fall and I make a fool out of myself? And what if I get fired? Or what if he breaks up? Like the worst. And so it's like, if we could turn that into a healthy what if, and what if the best possible outcome of a situation, it raises your vibration and brings in more of that good juju. So
Cool.
I am going to what if. I'm going to what if something with WoW, the wrestling thing. Because I've been asked to switch and move into a different class, which the class is more advanced than me, and I love that, but I get nervous about it because you're as good as the best person. Wait, that's probably a bad train with the best people. You can be the shittiest person, but when you train with the best person, it's going to level you up. So anyways, point is, what if I get moved into this class and I become really, really like better than I expected? And what if I am so well received? I already know that I can't film a lot because I'm working 2 jobs at the same time. So it's like, I got to make those few episodes like the most bang for my buck, not the most bang for my butt. Whoops. The most bang for
Whatever
my
it
butt.
takes.
Where's my head? And my character is well received and I become an inspiration to other people. And what if that makes somebody want to try this new thing that I'm promoting with my character? And I'm sorry, I'm talking in code. I just don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it. But if you know me, I feel like you could get a gist of where I'm going with this character thing, because it's like what I always try to promote with compassion. Wink, wink.
Mhm.
And I'm going to toss it to Val.
Okay. What if I get an audition for my dream series regular role and I book the lead number one on the call sheet of this award-winning, long-lasting TV show that leads to all the other endeavors and creative projects that I've always dreamt of doing. And it makes all my wildest dreams come true.
Oh, I love that. That's a that's a good one. I felt that. I think mine's very similar.
Go for it. Listen and be specific.
What if I am financially stable and have an abundance of wealth, doing exactly what I love, no side hustles. I'm not walking dogs. I'm not driving for Uber. I'm not delivering groceries. Doing exactly what I love, consistently booking work as an actor, singer, and a dancer?
Yes.
And what if my music, because that's a touchy subject, what if my music provides for me better than I could have ever imagined?
Mm-hmm.
What if Deshad singing on our podcast gets him some traction because somebody out there hears it and they happen to be a record executive and they're like, I love his personality. I love what he stands for. And yes, he can be one of the first top R&B artists that's gay and has an array of amazing inspirational music.
Come on. I received that.
Yes.
Let it happen.
Yes.
So as you receive that, let's go ahead and receive some more fine, amazing tunes for our ears to soothe us out of this episode.
Let's see. What's a good one?
I'm sure singers hate when people do that. By the way, sing now, go.
I know.
I love it and I hate it because I love saying it, but then I'm like, as soon as you ask me, I'm like, duh, I don't know. What is music?
I mean, we could end the way we started. I don't mind.
You know, can I make a song request? And if you know it, can
absolutely.
you sing it?
Sure.
Do you know Tennessee Whiskey?
I don't.
Damn it. I mean, I can sing it for you guys, but you might be running for the whiskey after I sing it.
Do I have some?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, well then what's your go-to? Your go-to always.
Or what's your karaoke song? Do you have a karaoke song?
I would probably say James Brown, I Got You, I Feel Good. That's a classic, easy go-to for me.
Then go.
Give us a little bit of that.
I feel good. I knew that I would. I feel good. Hey, I knew that I would now. Yeah. So good. So good. I got you.
Yes.
So good.
Right? I'm like, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to a close. Deshad Barner, thank you so much. Valley Ortiz, you're amazing as always. And you know what? For Shiggles, Deshad, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on social media at Deshad. That's DESHAUDE. No underscore, no nothing. Thank you, Mom. On all social platforms.
Well, okay. Any last words for us, Val?
No, just like everything. Thank you for all our listeners. Thank you for the support, and thank you for the inspiration for everybody out there who's feeling like they don't belong, like they need a little bit more oomph to getting to that self and that confidence. I hope that this episode inspires you and gives you a little bit more peace to do that.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why she's my closing synopsis every single time.
We love y'all. Thank you again for being here, Deshad.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.